Why was Napoleon never executed but sent in exile to the remote island of St. Helena? Well, after his final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena for several key reasons. Rather than being executed, he was exiled for several key reasons. To avoid a martyrdom, the primary concern of the Allied powers, Great Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia, was to prevent Napoleon from becoming a martyr. Even after his second abdication, Napoleon still held immense power and was immensely popular with the masses. The revolutionary fervor he had ignited across France and, indeed, much of Europe could not simply be wished away. And so the decision was taken to spare his life, believing that to execute a man of such power and appeal would be to court disaster by giving his followers a rallying point to destabilize the newly reinstalled Bourbon monarchy under Louis XVIII. The second reason why Napoleon was exiled instead of being executed was his outlaw status. While the Prussians, in particular, were eager for Napoleon's execution, the other powers were more cautious. They had already declared him an outlaw, but executing a deposed monarch was a taboo that had been broken before with Charles I of England and Louis XVI of France, and they were conscious of the dangerous precedent it could set. As Sir Robert Peel put it, if we were to hang the ex-emperor, we should make martyrs of 200,000 or 300,000 Frenchmen. Exile, on the other hand, was a more traditional and less politically messy form of punishment for aristocrats and fallen rulers. Finally, the decision to send him to St. Helena was a direct result of his first exile to the island of Elba in 1814. From Elba, he had escaped, returned to France, and swiftly regained power during the 100 Days campaign, which culminated in the Battle of Waterloo. This demonstrated that a location in or near Europe was not secure enough to contain him. St. Helena's remoteness was its key feature. Located in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, over 1,200 miles from the nearest landmass, it was considered the ideal prison. Its geographic location made escape virtually impossible and ensured that Napoleon would be out of sight and out of mind, unable to influence European politics or inspire a new uprising. So in conclusion, while there were multiple reasons for Napoleon's downfall, his execution was not one of them. Great Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia all had their qualms with the former emperor, but they all agreed that it was in their best interest to spare his life and send him away to a remote island far from Europe. Napoleon spent his final years in exile at St. Helena, where he died in 1821. His remains were later returned to France and entombed in a Parisian church. Despite his controversial legacy, Napoleon remains a prominent figure in French history, and his story continues to fascinate people around the world. Now you're welcome. Now stay tuned for more content.